Good afternoon and welcome back to Valley News Now. I'm Adam Shalafu and I am joined by Gabriel Ostler. Gabe joining us from the nation's capital at Franklin Delano Roosevelt Park. And it looks like, for just a second, some technical difficulties, but you're clear as crystal now from Franklin Delano Roosevelt Memorial, providing an update. Day 2 of the honor flight. Gabe, how's it going?
Everything's fantastic, Adam. Sorry about that technical difficulty, whatever it was. I just wanted to give you a little bit of a heart arrhythmia for a second there. But I am indeed at this lovely memorial for President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. I'm going to give you a look at it right there. There's a big waterfall on the other side of this wall. You can maybe hear it in the distance. I'm not going to go over there right now because that would make it much more difficult to hear me. But today has been really. I'm going to touch on what we did yesterday in just a minute. But speaking from personal experience, this is my first time visiting the nation's capital. So there were some incredible military-focused events that we had as part of the honor flight. But just from a tourist perspective, this is my first time seeing the Washington Monument and the Lincoln Memorial and really like engaging with these pieces of our nation's history. So as a person, this has been incredibly fulfilling. As a journalist and somebody who enjoys the stories that these veterans are getting to tell, it's been even better.
No, Gabe, I remember when I went out there, one of the coolest aspects of many cool aspects was just being able to experience some of the things that you mentioned with the veterans. What's the response been like for the veterans? So many of them, it's their first time going out there as well.
Well, it's been tremendously touching. Yesterday was some military specific memorials as far as the branches go. So, like, our very first stop was the U.S. Marine Corps Memorial, then the Air Force Memorial, which is actually a pretty recent one. Fun fact if you don't know that. Well, fun I use loosely, of course, with the greatest sensitivity, but they said that if that memorial had been up during the September 11th attacks, it actually would have hit them first because you can literally see the Pentagon on the hill overlooking from where that memorial is. But yesterday was a little bit more of a convivial atmosphere where the veterans got to go to their specific branch of the military memorial, take a group picture, kind of get to know each other a little bit, more of a social feeling out process. Today was really, really emotionally impactful. We went to the Vietnam Wall, we went by the Korea Memorial, and that's when you really see the names and you feel the loss emanating from these people. And something that has really struck me is kind of what you mentioned about how this is the first time for a lot of them. So you're talking about people who were in a war 50 years ago. Remember, Vietnam was going into the 70s, but a lot of these guys weren't in there until 70, 71 or something like that. 50 years have passed. They're just getting to see this memorial in person, and they're seeing the names of people that they lost, people they might have been holding as they died. So we have some really, really impactful sound that was just tremendously moving to hear. Alex Larson, who's on the ground with me here, did a fantastic job interviewing. She's putting together our materials right now. That's going to be coming up largely in the 9 and 10 o'clock broadcasts tonight. But yeah, just to bring it back to your question, I feel like it's been a very gratifying experience for the veterans. Yesterday, a little bit more joyful. Today, somewhat more cathartic. But we're getting into more of the social hour of the evening where we're going to finish up at the FDR and then go back for more dinner and more conversation. And it just seems like everybody's having a really great time.
I love to hear that, Gabe. Changing the guard this morning, some of those memorials. FDR now. If you don't mind just giving us another pan, that was definitely one of the prettiest places I saw on the whole trip when I went a few months ago.
Your wish is my command. Here's the opening of it where we've got the FDR statue actually going on, then the wall that I was showing you before. And I will briefly round the corner. Hopefully the audio can handle it just so everyone gets a real feeling of what this is actually like. Pretty spectacular.
Yeah, it's truly underrated, super beautiful. There's
There.
the waterfall you were referencing earlier.
And then, of course, talking about the New Deal, his contribution to the American people. the architecture in general is just, if you haven't been, I'm here to tell you as your correspondent who's also experiencing it with you for the first time. It's spectacular to see the kind of craftsmanship that's going into creating these monuments. It's really something else.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like you guys have a lot more good stuff coming up tonight. If you can tease out just a few things, what can viewers expect on Valley News Live later this evening?
Yeah. So we have really, I mean, we're blessed for choice. We have such a tremendous amount of stuff to choose from, be it just the sheer striking visuals of everything that's been going on. I'm being completely serious, and this could just be a little bit of my military naivete showing, but I have never seen anything crazier than the changing of the guard. If you have not seen it, go back and watch our Facebook live stream or tune in later to see some of those visuals because it's absurd. Seriously mind blowing if you've never experienced that. But we have some very, very touching testimony from veterans of the Vietnam War who were seeing the names of their deceased soldiers and friends for the very first time. That's going to be the package tonight that is airing in 9 and 10. And then there is still more to come. Tomorrow we're going to be at Fort McHenry, which I know was a really great experience for you, Adam. And we have even more sounds, more visuals, just more of what is really making this trip a special experience. So that is what I would say. Make sure you keep it locked on Valley News Live because we have a whole full day of programming ahead that you're not going to want to miss.
A lot of good stuff coming up. You will love Fort McHenry. Great place. Really fun time there. Anything else before we let you go?
No, nothing in particular. Just that I am very thankful to be out here and experiencing all of this stuff. Like I said, it's been transformative in many different ways. I think that we're going to have a really, really touching story for y'all tonight at 9 and 10. And then also stick with me in the afternoon broadcast. I'm going to be giving you a more concise rundown with some of those sound bites that we promised before. And I know that everybody loves to hear from the veterans and hear them tell their stories. So, yeah, just stick around because you're not going to believe what we have in store for you.
That's Gabriel Ostler live from the nation's capital. Great job, him and Alex, holding down the fort in D.C. You love to see it. Teamwork, making the dream work. That's all for now on Valley News. Now, make sure you tune in later tonight. More sound from the veterans, more coverage from the Honor Flight coming up. Until then, we'll see you next time on Valley News Now.